Hey everyone, I'm Ian DeBorha, filling in for Tim Cash, and this is the IMDb show. Our guest today is Freddie Highmore. Freddie, welcome.
Thank you.
The first two seasons of The Good Doctor, your character, Shaun, he is kind of largely defined by autism, and we get a little bit of him expanding beyond that in season 3. How do you think he's going to be redefined for this coming season?
I think over the course of the 2 seasons so far, we've got to understand a little bit more, like his sense of humour or the things that make him tick. And he's also just relaxed a little bit in the hospital and found himself, which of course now we're in season 3 means that he has a lot more to lose because he's made friends, he's made relationships, and he is potentially falling in love with someone too. Here are flowers and chocolates.
Are you asking me out?
Yes.
I would love to.
What can you tell us about that side of his emotional and loving growth as a character?
I think what David Shaw does brilliantly is take things with Shaun step by step and really allow us to dwell in these little small nuanced moments. In terms of Shaun's first date, the first episode of the season is called Disaster. So in that way, there's like a slight hint as to how it goes or how Shaun thinks that it goes. But, you know, he'll take things step by step. It's not worth it.
How have the other doctors seen their opinions shift towards Shaun? How is that going to change in season 3?
Shaun is learning, he's growing and evolving as a person, but almost more importantly, he's changing the hospital around him. And I think others are learning from Shaun, and he sees the world differently. He has his unique take on things, and I think more and more people find value in those opinions and that different way of thinking.
It's amazing how accomplished you are for someone with ASD.
You've given Shaun a very specific speech pattern, the way you walk around the scenes. I love the way you hold your hands.
I'm still this. I'm clearly come down from Vancouver and I can't escape.
You can't stop. You're ordering coffee.
Yeah.
Your hands are like this. So what was behind all those choices in developing the mannerisms, speech, and the way Shaun carries himself on the show?
You know, both David and I discussed Shaun in depth beforehand, and we have a consultant who's on board the show, and you know, various documentaries were really useful to me. And of course, you know, people that I knew and that I know in my own life who have autism. You're scaring him. Who are you? Dr. Shaun Murphy.
This patient is psychotic, Dr. Murphy.
He's not psychotic, he's autistic. In terms of the research, it's a continual process. Shaun is always evolving and changing, and it never feels static, and it never feels like we've done enough. At the same time, I think we're all aware that we're telling one individual story, and hopefully it serves as a starting point to further conversation or further investigation and understanding of autism. But Shaun can't represent everyone who is on the spectrum.
You always talk like that.
Like what?
Just say whatever you're thinking when you're thinking it.
Yes, it's good to be honest. I guess it's sort of constantly maintaining that line of authenticity when it comes to autism, but at the same time being aware that we are just telling Shaun's story. I'm sad and angry and confused and I don't know.
Do you have any favorite moments of a fan with autism or someone who knows someone with autism coming up to you and talking to you about the importance of The Good Doctor?
Yeah, there certainly have been those moments. They always feel like these little private interactions that it feels odd to speak about more publicly, I guess. But that's what makes it feel like, maybe this sounds silly, but more than a television show when we're working on it. It feels like there's something more important that the show has to say, and that sort of positive feedback from people who are in the community, who see family members reflected in Shaun or maybe see a little bit of themselves in him, makes it feel that we're doing something special, and I'm very lucky to be playing this part.
You saved his life. He saved his life.
So you've also played 2 very iconic roles, Charlie and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Way back when.
What are they doing?
They're testing to see if she's a bad nut.
And Norman Bates in Bates Motel.
We have
tried our best, Mother, we really have.
Did you avoid watching those films to get prepared to make it like your own thing, or what was the process like picking up those roles?
I guess it was different for the two of them. I'd never seen the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I think it was called before we did Charlie. So in that way, there wasn't this desire to avoid or not, or
right.
recreate the character. And then I ended up only seeing it afterwards.
There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination.
And then with Bates Motel, it felt like the opposite, because Psycho always seemed to be the end point of the show in one way or another. And it was never an attempt to sort of mimic Anthony Perkins' performance, which is obviously so brilliant, but try and find little things or moments or nuances that were inspired by it.
You understand? I don't hate her. I hate what she's become.
I'm very curious, what are you a fan of? What TV shows or movies have you been watching lately, or want to watch, that are coming out?
In general, I mean, I'm looking forward to Search Party, which I love. And it feels like it's been so long. I don't know what's happened to it. Like maybe it's coming back on a different network or, one of these various streaming things that's going on.
She's like a missing person.
Well, where is she?
That's the question.
The amount of story that they get to pack into those 22 minutes that they very strictly have to adhere to is incredible, and that it's so funny at the same time, and all of the performances are brilliant.
Not to get us distracted, but these mannequins look exactly like us, right?
Oh my God.
I'm going to go with Mum, which I've thought is absolutely brilliant, but then hasn't sort of made that transition, I guess, in a recognizable way over to the US, but please watch that if you haven't.
You got fat.
Thanks, Maureen.
You're ginormous.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to seeing Joker. Is it The Joker or just Joker, the title?
Can you introduce me as Joker?
I'm sure it will be really sad and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I think it will be great.
People are starting to notice.
Thank you so much for being here, Freddie.
No, not at all. Thank you for having me on.
You can see Freddie in new episodes of The Good Doctor airing Monday nights on ABC. Now, don't forget to head over to imdb.com/show. You can watch more interviews with your favorite stars there. But before you go, we've got all the latest previews right here in this week's Trailer.
Lance Sterling, the legendary spy who's always dressed to impress.
We are the first independent intelligence agency.
Preserving peace and protecting life.
Welcome to the club.
It was like the army. You followed orders. You did the right thing. You got rewarded.
You see people. I see assets. A Soviet-controlled program was designed to create human weapons.
You know what a Harlequin is? A Harlequin's role is to serve. It's nothing without a master. No one gives two who we are beyond that.